Hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel for Catch. My name is Sam and I'm the founder and lead coach here at Catch. Unshakable confidence is the key to getting everything that you want in life and dating. So on this channel we talk about everything to do with confidence, mindset and how to utilise that in all areas of life, but with a particular focus on dating and relationships. So today is a slightly different video and it's about what to choose in a coach or what to look for in a coach. So coaching as an industry has boomed over the last 5-10 years. It's been around for decades, but it's become a lot more popular, and the types of coaching and the specialisms that people have seems to have expanded into lots of different areas and lots of different specialties. And I think for many people who are stuck or frustrated or want different outcomes out of life, it can be overwhelming to know what to look for in a coach, who to choose, what coaching even is, and what to expect from working with a coach. And I think just stepping back and observing the industry as someone who's in it, the word coach and title coach is used in lots of different ways. And I remember when I first started getting coaching, which was through work around 8 years ago, and saw the impact of it, I had some misconceptions before I started getting coaching sessions. So I thought it might be helpful to make this video, so if anyone else is feeling how I felt several years ago and wanting to make an investment in themselves but not sure where to start, that this might help steer you. Obviously, to caveat this and be honest, this is a coaching channel. I am a coach, this is a coaching business, so I will be coming at it with what I think adds value, and of course how we've set up Catch is to help to deliver some of that value, but it's not intended to be an advertisement at all for us. This is meant to be an objective video that you can use. So the first thing to say is that the term coach is not a regulated term. So if you want to call yourself an accountant, a doctor, a lawyer, even a psychologist, you have to have certain qualifications to be able to say that you are those things. You have to have a doctorate or have done an accounting qualification. Coaching is not the same. And because of that, and because of the misconceptions that surround the word coach, it's used in lots of different ways, in lots of different contexts, and in lots of different industries. So a lot of people are familiar with the term and the role of coach when it comes to sport, so being a football coach. For a long time, there's also been business coaching. So a lot of senior leaders and executives will have coaches that specialize in working with senior leaders to help them unlock their potential. And that's a really key word or phrase, is unlocking the potential of the individual that you are coaching. And this is where coaching is very different to mentoring, training, or someone being your manager or giving you advice. Coaching is not intended to tell you what to do in the purest sense anyway. It is intended to unlock you as a person. So coaching looks at individuals as already being whole and complete, having innate intelligence that they can tap into, and knowing what is right for them. And so a coach is meant to ask you the right questions, give you the right prompts, the right stimulus, and the right examples to help you look at things differently, and therefore reflect on what's right for you, or look at the different, understand the different options ahead of you, understand the specific perspectives that you can take on a topic, which we can consciously choose. We can consciously choose our perspective on something, and then decide a route forward based on what we want, how we're observing the situation, the perceptions we've chosen, and then deciding to take an action. And a coach will also help you stay accountable to any plan that you make and move ahead with it. Although the accountability still sits with the coachee or the person being coached, the coach will help to remind you of that plan and figure out your level of commitment to it. And if you're not taking those actions, what could be getting in the way? So a coach will help figure out, what are your limiting beliefs or your perspectives, and how can you deliberately shift those to achieve the things that you want? Where that differs then from a mentor or a trainer or someone giving advice is that a mentor is someone who typically has what you want or has achieved what you want in terms of an outcome. So for example, you might get a business mentor who is someone who is an entrepreneur who has set up and scaled several businesses to hundreds of thousands or millions of pounds and sold them. And therefore you are paying a mentor to tell you, this is what worked for me, these are some of the challenges I faced along the way, and here's how I overcame them. So if you're someone who's early on in your entrepreneurial journey, a mentor might be really helpful to act as a shortcut. Some of the challenges that they face, they can warn you of, so you don't have to go through all of the learning through experience. You're getting some education from someone who's achieved what you want to achieve. And the same with advice. There's a lot of people, especially in the dating space or the mindset space, who refer to themselves as mindset coaches or dating coaches. Really what they're doing is giving advice based on their personal experience and what has worked for them. Not necessarily anything wrong with that. It's just a slightly different offer and value that you're getting as a customer or a coachee than someone who is a coach in the purest sense. So if you have a session with someone who calls themselves a dating coach, but most of their content is giving advice or giving you a playbook on exactly how to approach situations. So for example, pickup artists that give you lines to use and questions to ask on dates, they're not actually a coach in the purest sense. What they're doing is advising you and teaching you their method based on their personal experience, the country that they've brought up in, the beliefs that they hold, including their limiting beliefs, their past experiences, positive or negative, and they're teaching you something that's worked for you. And that might be what you're looking for, because you might want a playbook that you can, for want of a better word, or a set of rules that you can follow. And that can also work in terms of achieving some outcomes because it makes you feel more confident. So sometimes when we get given a set of instructions or a set of rules, we can read those, digest those, repeat them or enact them, and we feel a lot more confident because we feel like we've got the answer and we can just embody that, repeat that, and everything will work in our favour. Where that differs from purist coaching though, and where the industry started in a professional sense and then moved into kind of life coaching and confidence and mindset and manifestation, all those areas, is that it's kind of like the analogy, do you give someone a fish or do you teach them how to fish and give them the fishing rod? Someone who is more of a giving advice, an advisor, a mentor, they're giving someone the fish. Now that fish still has value, but it might only get you so far. And as I mentioned, it's based on a limited personal perspective. But because they've been extremely successful, that limited personal perspective might be what you need. Whereas people who are coaching and asking you questions and helping you overcome your limiting beliefs that are specific to you, understanding what's been the problem that's underlying the fact you haven't got the outcomes in the past, and then helping you shift your perspective and your beliefs and reach your full potential, they're giving you a fishing rod. They're helping you become a new version of you in a long-term way. It's sustained change. You're becoming a new version of you. And because you are, in a way, with the right prompting, coming up with the outcome that you want, designing your own plan, being accountable to yourself, and then enacting that and learning as you go, those skills will stay with you ongoing as long as you maintain them. Whereas it's going to take longer. If someone's telling you what to do, you might know it rationally and consciously, but it won't necessarily change you in a long-term way, or it's going to take more practice for that to become normal and natural, because you're learning something that has worked for someone else and their authentic expression, and you might be coming into it with different beliefs, different experiences, different childhood trauma, different perspectives of the world. And so you're trying to shift how you see the world to fit this playbook that you've been given. So usually coaching might take a little bit longer for you to change in the first instance, but it's going to uncover the root cause of the change and help you change in a more sustainable long-term way, and you will become a new version of you. So you can keep on rising and rising and rising. Whereas if you are working with, whether they call themselves a coach or not, someone that is giving you advice or telling you what worked for them, that might be a shortcut in some ways. So you might see quicker progress initially or feel more confident initially, but then you might see that progress plateau, or you might need to keep on using that mentor or different guidance to keep going to that next level. Whereas when you're coaching, you're unlocking that inner wisdom and you're building your confidence over time. So after a period of time, you can coach yourself in some ways and then just use a coach in the purest sense for an external perspective or to challenge your thinking. So based on that context, when you're looking for a coach, what should you look for? Well, first it's understanding those two differences and observing their content. When you're intaking their content, be deliberate what you're looking for and why. And if you're looking for someone who's going to unlock your potential and help you see things differently, there are a few things to look for. So even though the word coach is not regulated as a title, there are several professional bodies that are the global industry standard for coaching. And any coaching course that you do globally, if it's of quality, so coaching is in one-on-one with a coach, or if you train to be a coach yourself, it will be affiliated or quality controlled, so it'll have the rubber stamp of this is a effective coaching course by one of these three bodies. The first is called the ICF, or the International Coaching Federation, and that's the biggest and most well-known. The second is the EMCC, so it's the European coaching body. And then the third one is the AC, so the Association of Coaching. So if you're looking to train as a coach yourself or get one-on-one coaching, then look for someone who's been trained by a coaching school that is accredited by one of those bodies. And if they've certified, so they've gone through the exams and passed the test, so to speak, it will be with one of those three bodies if it's quality. So for example, I've trained with Coactive Training Institute, which is the biggest global coaching training company, and all of their courses are rubber stamped and quality controlled by the International Coaching Federation. So that's something to ask. If you want to know that you've got someone of quality, check their credentials, who they trained with, and whether they're certified or not. The other question, which is quite interesting to ask if you're thinking about working with a coach, is do they have a coach themselves, and how do they work with that coach? Because most people that go into coaching as a profession have had coaching in the past and seen the power of it, and that's why they then decided to train a coach. So if someone really believes in the power of coaching and the impact that they can have on others, then they should have a coach that they're working with. And it might not be all the time, it might not be consistently, but if you really believe in the power of coaching yourself, then you will have a coach that you work with when you're trying to make big shifts or achieve something new or feel stuck in something. So check and ask them if that's something that they have and how they utilize that coach and what for, because that will tell you a lot about how they view coaching, where they think coaching is most powerful, and if they as coaches are also willing to invest in their own development, because that's part of what you're paying for. And coaching is when you're doing it well, is a very energy intensive career choice. When someone's booked half an hour or an hour with you, you are giving them your full energy and attention without any distractions for that time. And the other benefit of having a coach or a supervisor also as a coach is that you then have someone to talk to continually develop and improve your coaching practice and give your clients the best value. And also you're often hearing a lot of people's deepest inner thoughts and dreams for their life. And so having a coach or a supervisor that they work with to reflect on their practice, always be improving, and also maintain their energy so they can show up well for their clients is important. So those are the benefits of and why someone who coaches you should have a coach or a supervisor that they're working with to constantly improve their practice. The third thing is that because coaches are helping you reach your potential rather than necessarily telling you what to do, there are a couple of things that you should look for in their approach. So people who are more purist coaches and have had the coach training are usually challenging your thinking, so helping you find a new perspective or asking you questions for you to help build your self-awareness and figure out what's getting in the way and what do you need to change to achieve a new outcome and what do you need to develop. So when you're looking at content on social media, which is the way a lot of coaches are growing now, are they helping you shift your perspective? Are you learning something new, but maybe not just for this moment, but in terms of a life skill? Or are they helping you see something differently or giving you a fresh perspective? Or are they asking you questions in the video to help you reflect or build that self-awareness? Because everyone's different and got different goals and different past experiences. So the best way to uncover that is to help coachees build their self-awareness or give them the tools to do that outside of a video. So that's what you should be looking for, because people who are teaching coaching content will be asking you questions or giving you new perspectives with examples that you can then apply to your own life. Whereas people coming in with blanket advice, again, not necessarily a bad thing, but they're more in the training, mentoring space, and they haven't tailored it to your specific situation. So again, it's just what you're looking for. And I would also add that you might not always like what an effective coach is saying to you, or it might not always resonate straight away, but that is what a good coach does, is they prompt you to think differently and therefore build a new skill or a new perspective or way of looking at something that then shifts the dial in terms of your life outcomes. So you can have someone who's a good coach who doesn't necessarily have exactly what you want, and you might not even like them, but you might view their content and be learning something from them, really respect them. It's clear that they're an expert in their field, or they just ask you the right questions that have prompted you to reflect and then look at something differently, and it's unlocked something internally for you. And that's the other thing is that we can see with social media, is that people are drawn to people that call themselves coaches who either they like and they trust, which is a good thing, because you want to have some kind of rapport and chemistry with the coach. You need to trust them for them to coach you. But it's more important to have someone who will help you think differently and learn something than it is to have someone that you necessarily like as a person. So just something to think about. And secondly, how social media engagement works is that being controversial or making very blanket generalizations that cause people to react or brings up an emotion, and especially fear and anger, is what causes engagement and then boosts numbers, and it gets pushed out to more people. So you see a lot of dating coaches or mindset coaches who will say very inflammatory things purely to get engagement. So again, you might not, this is again where the balance is fine, is you might look at some of their content and not like what they're saying, but there's a difference between you don't like it because it's something new or unfamiliar, or it's getting you to challenge some limiting beliefs, versus not liking it because someone is purposefully instilling fear or limiting beliefs or anger in you, and they're trying to tell you that you can only get what you want in an area of life or dating by working with that coach. But that coach isn't coaching you in the purest sense like we're talking about, they're giving you advice. So for example, especially in the dating space, there's a lot of people that say things like, men don't want commitment, women only want money, and they're going to divorce you because they want to take half your assets, or men are only after one thing, or you know, women have to be submissive, whatever. And you need to look at that with a pinch of salt and think, do I want to buy into these beliefs? Are these opinions that I really want to hold about the kind of groups that I'm dating? Is that the way I want to see the world? And do they really mean this, or is this just engagement bait? So use your critical thinking skills to analyze what a coach is saying. Are they helping you? Are they helping you look at new things, uncover limiting beliefs, or are they giving you more fear? And I think I did a post a while ago just on the community page about this, where some dating coaches even say, and they might be male dating coaches talking about women, and they'll say, well, women don't even know what they want. Like, I know what they want and I have the secret. Or vice versa with female dating coaches about men. And does that really ring true? That these dating coaches who have maybe dated 20 or 30 people in their lifetime are going to know more than a person that you're dating, maybe in a different country, a different geography, or a different life experience? So any of those kind of negative generalizations, we would suggest just adding your own perspective, you know, critical thinking to, and is that something that you want to believe and play into more, or is it fear and an emotional reaction coming in? The other thing that you should see from a coach is they should believe in you. So because coaches are trained to unlock potential, and as we say, see people as whole and complete, and having that inner wisdom, how they should work with you, or their content should be about unlocking you and helping you identify any limiting beliefs or blockers and achieve what you want out of life, rather than, as we just talked about with some of those dating beliefs, instill fear or bring you down or make you feel negative about something. And finally, as we said before, you don't necessarily need to like the coach that you're working with. However, you want to respect them and trust them and believe in their results. What I've personally found helpful when choosing a coach is, do they have a quality that I would like to develop? Does their content resonate with me? Does it prompt me, as I say, to think in new ways and also think about something more positively and overcome some internal limiting beliefs? But for example, I've worked with coaches who are extremely calm and I've really wanted to learn that from them, or they've been more sassy and backed themselves, and so I've wanted to learn more about that. And so they haven't necessarily had the quality, had the outcome that I want, because a good coach doesn't have to have the outcome that you want, because as I say, they're unlocking you, and you might want something, you know, that not many people have done. But if I'm struggling to choose between a few different coaches, for example, I'll look at, do they help me think differently, but also, do they have a quality that I want to learn from? Because then I can speak to them about that a bit more. Or through absorbing their content, I look at some of their behaviours and I maybe learn about that. And that does sway more into the mentoring space, but at least it will be a conscious decision for you in terms of what you're looking for and what you are intentionally choosing for your coaching journey. And if you use those questions, you can also then use those for any courses or coaching materials, because if you use those questions to understand the qualifications and the style of the coach or mentor or advisor that's online, you can then look at the content that they're selling or the courses they're selling with that lens, on top of whether the content and what they're promising to give you in those courses is going to work for you. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any other questions about the coaching industry, or what it's like to work with a coach, or what a typical journey looks like, or you've had any tips or tricks for others, pop that in the description box below. If you are interested in anything more about Catch or working with us in any way, all that information is in the description box below. And we're also running a competition giveaway at the moment to help build a movement around confidence, and it's free to enter, and all the information is in the drops box below. So thank you for liking, sharing, commenting and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.